Hello, my true crime lovelies. How are you? Uh-oh, we got more showing than I intended to. Can you drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me? A 0 if you cannot. Hopefully this is live. I reset all the private settings, so hopefully you guys can actually see me, members. Let me go to here and see if it's on. Yes. It is. Okay, I can see you guys all there. Hello. Let me close that out. Now, can I see you in StreamYard? I can't see it in StreamYard. We'll just do it on the screen in real time for anyone to see. Yeah, see, it is set for members, but now it's saying on this side, hold on, that no one's here. But when I go to YouTube, give me 1 second. I know you guys can hear me, so we're good there. I'm just going to see if I can adjust this. Edit. Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's try that and see if I can see you guys now. Yeah, okay. Okay, I know. All right, we are going to read the messages. I hadn't seen them. Someone had actually emailed. So the messages between Sarah and the final message between Sarah and her documenters. So hopefully, okay, now I can see it. It may be, I don't know what it might not be a members only, but I'm going to pretend like it's members only. And then I was going to release it to the public anyway, because of the wonderful things he does. I don't know if you guys can hear that one. So yeah, it was posted while I was on with Paul, and I turned my phone off. I know some of you guys were messaging me when I'm on live, because that's where I get the audio issues. Like my MacBook takes over, or my iPhone takes over the MacBook. It does it on both my Air and my Pro. So I just turn it off so I don't have that issue. When I get that echoey sound, it's because my phone starts picking up my audio and transfers it from the mic. I don't know why. So yeah. In the summer. Thank you for being a member. I appreciate you. How is everybody doing? What's the weather like? It's chilly here. It's a little warmer today than yesterday. He's upset with me right now. Okay. But it's still cold. It's still fall. So there you go with that. How many of you guys, if you've already seen the messages on Reddit, I don't know, drop a 5 in there or a high 5 in there if you've already seen it, because I do want to go over it. I'm going to start with Sarah's comment to him first, and then, or actually, no, the other way around, because he wrote first. So I'm going to start there. I'm also working on compiling. Okay, 5, you guys have seen it. Okay. So I'm going to read it because some people haven't seen it. First, I'll just read it all the way through, starting with his note. Then I'll reread it with commentary, just in case you want to just absorb it as it is and just hear it before I start making snarky remarks. Because, oh boy. And I'm not going to show it on the screen because last I checked, First Amendment rights were still in full effect, but I don't know about showing these, and you know, they get messy over there on the YouTube streets. So, okay, let me just first pull up hers or his. I'm going to try not to say his name either. I'll just call them the documenters, the documentarians. Oh, what's the matter? Okay, Sarah, this is my final message to you. We started this with the best intentions, to give you a voice and to make sure you weren't left without representation. From the beginning, we never believed your innocence, but we gave you the benefit of the doubt. That courtesy has run out. You are a murderer. You planned this. You locked someone in a suitcase, listening to him beg for his life, and did nothing. Then you tried to cover it up with a childish lie. You threw him down a flight of stairs. You beat him with a baseball bat and mocked him as he pleaded for his life. And this was all a plan. You wrote to George's brother that hide and seek you shall, well before this murder ever took place. The emails, the story, the timeline, it all exposes you. The world isn't stupid, Sarah. You are. If you need proof, just look at the simple fact that you could be out of jail by now if you took responsibility, showed remorse, and took a plea deal. But the demon that is inside of you won't allow that. You've shown no remorse, no apology, no regret. You are dangerous. You should never see freedom again. Your son is better off without you in his life. Your son is better off without you in his life. And if you cared about him, Sarah, you'd put him first instead of dragging him through the shadow of your crimes. I am ashamed I ever invested this much in you. I thought if I gave you trust, you might tell the truth. I hope there was a human being worth saving underneath the narcissism, but there isn't. You had moments where I thought I saw good. What a pathetic waste that turned out to be. Here's the reality. You are a monster. The kind people fear is hiding under the bed. There is no redemption for you in this life without brutal honesty. Tell the truth, explain what you did and why, admit it to the world and to yourself. Without that, you die exactly as you lived, selfish, manipulative, and empty. You say you have found God, but know this. So long as you live with that lie in your heart, you are only praying to the devil. I don't expect you to surprise me. Monsters don't change. But for your son's sake, for whatever shred of decency you once had, I hope you prove me wrong. Him. It's one of them. Presumably, he's speaking for both of them. So if you haven't heard it, initial thoughts of what do you make of that? So for me, I'm looking at it as this is a business relationship, right? So this is a business email. And I think I've said this before. One of my mentors always told me always very early in my career, think about everything you say and write, explaining it in front of a judge, right? So that's how I take my business writings. That's the approach that I take to them, right? Because you never know who's going to be litigious and you are going to end up in front of a judge. So first off, it's very emotional for a business letter, right? I think he could have more concisely just said goodbye, but his feelings are hurt. It feels like to me. You guys let me know if I'm off, if you have a different tingle than my 2 cent tingle. But it feels like he is hurt. I'm not judging him for being hurt. I just wouldn't express all those emotions in a business communication. That's what I'm saying. So let's go back. I'm going to look at it again and I'm going to talk about what my thoughts are. Some things that jumped out is he's saying what he invested in her. That feels emotional to me as well. Like if you're firing someone or parting ways from a business relationship, I don't think you go into that. And so that is where they kind of blurred the line as documentarians, right? Yeah. Okay. So from the beginning, we never believed your innocence, but gave you the benefit of the doubt. Why did you even communicate with her then, if you never believed her innocence? I don't know what the point of the documentary was. They've never expressed that, even when they've come onto YouTube. Sorry. They've never said what the outright point is. They kind of danced around it, but also, I mean, they didn't even admit it was them. They worded it such that it sounded like the documentary people were out here, outside somewhere, not that they were a part of it, right? But it's now filled with disdain. And maybe they disdained her all along, and maybe that seeped through in their communication. I don't know, right? I only have the text messages that we've seen, which I'm going to reread. I've been regrouping just the ones related to the documentarian. So I'm going to reread that. We have a lot of new people since we originally read that. So hopefully it's not boring for the new or the people, the OGs. So you tried to cover it up with the childish lie, which I'm assuming is the hide and seek. You threw him down a flight of stairs. You beat him. Maybe this is like, I don't know, some hypnotic thing. Like she knows all of that. Maybe he's saying, I know it too. It also gives me, and I am a domestic violence survivor. I am a childhood abuse survivor, right? Whatever that abuse looks like, physical, emotional, verbal, you name it. So, and then I went on to have relationships that replicated what was in my household. It feels to me like he may have some prior history of abuse. And it's not always like black and white, because I went from abused to abuser. Like I never put my hands on anybody, but I'm like verbally abusive. I was when I was like drinking all the time. It just would, I hadn't dealt with all my drama. I hadn't dealt with all my ish. And so therapy is a beautiful thing. But it sounds like that's where that hurt is coming from, because he feels like he was abused by her, did a lot of things. This one I got in a chat, so I'm hoping that's the full thing. Somebody sent that to me. There might be pieces missing. If you guys have a different version, let me know. But so yeah, the hide and seek you shall, the emails, the story, the timeline, it all exposes you. I don't know why he would call her stupid, knowing who she is, because then she's just gonna wall him off, right? She thinks she's a genius. So I don't know if in his mind he thought, well, I'll give her the what for. She's never going to agree that she's stupid. She just doesn't see the world the way we see it, right? Like how she thought those videos that she submitted were going to exonerate her, and all of us were like, oh my God. And I still to this day don't believe James Owens ever watched those videos. But you know, like the hostage video where he's like, she's a great person. And she adopted these dogs, like all of those things. So you've shown no remorse, no apology, no regret. But she gave forgiveness. I mean, all of that is true, but you were on the phone with her when she was like, do people expect me to be sad and blah, blah, blah? And you said, no, it doesn't matter. Like that would be the time to say, you should show some remorse just out of pure human decency. But she wasn't even willing to show remorse to save her own hide, right? She's so deep in her own BS that she's willing to spend the rest of her life in prison for telling off people at sentencing. I mean, we'll never know. I would love to hear Judge Kranix, like what were you going to give her before the sentencing's going on? But we know from Judge Everett, the judge can hold that against you in your sentencing for utter lack of remorse. She definitely doesn't have any regret, but you're helping her spread that by putting out things like her journal where she was abused on her first date. Moments where I thought I saw good, what a pathetic waste that turned out to be. I guess it depends on what he was in it for. Was he looking for true friendship? Was he looking to get on the other side of her so that she could make some big revelation? If so, why would she reveal that to him? You know, in her communication, she talks to them about getting me a lawyer, a family court lawyer, a criminal case lawyer, get Lana a kidney, and we'll go over those when I do just a recap of their text messages and or Lana and Sarah's text messages related to them. It is, I think, one, they seem very sporadic, right? Hence, like, I think they I know they put up their channel the day I gave birth, the 23rd, right? So that is not even a month ago yet, because today's the 21st. And it's come and gone, and now whispers of it may be coming back. So these are not like long-term, long-range thinkers. Because like, what did you think was going to happen? And why not be honest? Why not lead with this? Because his letter is dated September 18th, from what I have. If you guys have something different, let me know, of 2025. So if this happened in September and you're not posting until October 23rd, why not lead with, hey, we're the documentarians who were talking to Sarah and we've fallen out. We'd like to share some of this with you. I think that would have been a far better introduction, right? Oh, they've fallen out. People would be more receptive. Everybody was leery because we were, well, I was questioning their motives, right? What is it? What's in it for them, especially when they're promising lawyers and other things? It's a fair question. I mean, the Torres family has been through the ringer, and even through the trial, they were trying to drag the Torres family. The other son, I mean, you at sentencing, we heard the one sister saying she couldn't care less about the brother in the same way she couldn't care less about the sister, the brother who had the incident with the mother of his child, right? There was no need, and I didn't take the bait, but I knew they were putting that story out there hoping that YouTube would take off with it. I was not going to do that to Mrs. Torres. She's got enough going on. His mother. Um, there was no reason for me to plaster that over when my focus was justice for her son, right? So I'm not judging anyone who did. I just that's what I saw it for. Um, Lawyers and Other Strangers. Is that the name of a book? Is that the name of a book? Is that your book? Now, I have been thinking I want to write a mockumentary. I just you can't make this stuff up. When does her son reach 18? So he just turned 15. So what's 3 years from now? The 2028. So October of 2028, he'll be 18. He just turned 15 last month. So it's a pun on the book. Oh, Lovers and Other Strangers. That's funny. Okay, I gotcha. That would be a good book for Sarah, though. Lawyers. First date proves beyond any reasonable doubt that she knowingly, willfully, and voluntarily brought this into little man's life. Exactly. Yeah. And she's still dragging him through it, right? She's still being nonsensical and writing letters and being laughed at. And she somehow advocates for herself is how she views it, right? She advocates for herself. I don't call that advocacy. If you were really advocating for yourself, you would have taken the deal. You know you did it. I don't care what drink you had. You know you did it. I know you don't remember everything. Trust me, I've had a night with too many drinks. It doesn't come back. Some people are under the false pretense that, oh, eventually you'll remember it. Not necessarily. There are many nights that I have no memory of. Sad to say, never again, but it's a very weird addiction. She's going to end up losing her mind. She has done nothing but become an even more delusional since her conviction. So all she's got holding on now is our Australian / New Zealander, right? And so I'm going to do a separate video with her text messages as well. If you have the text messages or if you go back, she's Nicole Ray in those messages. And those are interesting too. Like knowing what I know now, we went into the text messages blind and then we started tying it back to the case and things that happened, like what was happening when. And now I think we know even more. So even though we've read them, I'm not going to read everything in its entirety. I'm going to section it off by people. I think there are new things that you'll see. Okay, so I think we're good on that. Are we ready to go to Sarah's? I'm just going to read it. I'm not going to put it on the Patreon chat. Is it off the hook, the chat? Is it still up? I'm so confused. I heard it was coming back, but the chat is still there. Watching from the beginning, the message from them to Sarah is weird. Them coming into all this is weird. I still don't trust them, and it's weird and slimy. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Goldie, because if you're already like, I'm going to say broken up, but if your business relationship has ended, why don't you lead with that? I would have been much more interested in the content if I knew that they were no longer associated with her. Well, at first, if they would have just been honest that it was them and stopped pretending like somebody else gave them this footage. I think that would be more redeeming, right? Especially if you're claiming that being associated with them has negatively impacted your life, or being associated with her specifically has negatively impacted your life. Wouldn't you want to come out publicly and say, I'm done with her. I learned my lesson. Y'all were right. Something. If you had all these very emotional reactions to leaving her. Okay, so let's go. This is on Reddit. It is under a thread called Satan's Girlfriend, or the message is Satan's Girlfriend's final email to him. Okay, so this is Sarah. Thank God for this message, proving your retaliation. Let me do her high voice. Manic moods and unprofessionalism. I've been stating to the appropriate authorities to make sure I'm still my own best advocate. You wrote before I could correspond with you, as I wanted to be professional and polite in advising in my seriousness to disassociate myself from you, and being advised by said appropriate authorities that both of you have been removed as my visitors. I'm going to read it all the way through because you know I have a lot of thoughts, but let me just get through this and then we'll come back to my thoughts, to my 2 cents. That both of you have been removed as my visitors. Also to ask, please, cease and desist in anything and everything now and future involving or regarding me for reasons known and recorded. I hope you can be professional in going our separate ways and understand all of my very legitimate reasons for this life-saving disassociation. Nicole, etc., can vouch also if needed. I will send a copy of your message and my response to your attorney so they are aware our severed ties. I have their information from receiving the now voided agreement with you all, which I will include also. Thank you for your reply stamp to say how very sorry and saddened I am. You are obviously more miserable than I thought for you to say all in your message to me. Hang on, because I got to go to the second page and it's a little bit of overlap. In all your message to me, I'm glad I kept my reservations about you with failed businesses and incarceration yourselves. Zing! Let's ask this. Who's really in prison, sir? Stop whining and try to be your best self no matter where you are. I do. And smile with joy in my heart, blessed by God Himself with strength to overcome unpleasant people such as you, just displayed with your unkind words. What comes out of your mouth comes from your heart. Remember, remember that so you don't get so upset from any of your other victims you're trying to manipulate in falling for your delirium and untrue experience, hoping they're not as smart as I am to see your now proven wolf eyes behind the sheep's mask. I will pray for them too. I hope somewhere in someone you're sending all your lures out to bites and makes you big, redeeming yourselves in your failures and obvious dysfunctions. I'm just glad my prayers have been answered. And I can permanently distance myself from you, your trouble, and danger. If you play with dogs, you're going to catch fleas. Focus on God, not your failures. I am proud of myself to say I lived through George Torres, his family, the justice system, so much more. And now you and your partner and your business. Again, I am my own best advocate and will never conform, staying true to who I am. I really hope everything works out for you all. I'm better without I'm better without your company or whoever you are. God's got me and my son. Cheer up. I hope your day gets better. Sarah Boone. Strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in time to come. Proverbs 31:25. People who know their God shall be strong and carry out great exploits. Daniel 11:32. Do not rejoice over me, my enemy. When I fall, I will arise. When I sit in darkness, the Lord will be a light to me. Micah 7:8. I don't know if that's Micah or Micah, but one of those. So, oh shoot, did I close it? I did on accident. Oh my God. One, she's taking a step back, I think intentionally, right? Because she knows he's emotionally charged. And so by letting her know that, he's given her the upper hand. So she's intentionally being kind of cool and aloof to make him more emotional. Hopefully he didn't take the bait. So she also sent that on September 18th. So she sent it right back. She wants to be professional. It's a little weird. Hang on. It is. Oh, I lost it. I clicked out of it. Hang on. Shoot. Let me just type in. It's in the Sarah Boone continued thread. Oh, there's something third rail response to hear me out in here. I may have lost it. I think I have it in a text message. Sorry, guys. It is. So, one thing I want to say is based on what she's saying, it sounds like they had a conversation ending this. Was it recorded? I would love to hear that one, right? Because it's like she's summarizing what they had previously said. This is why I think that. Let me go this way. Goodness gracious. Because it seems like they were both, he beat her to the draw. Let me see. You wrote before I could correspond with you. Like if they had just hung up. I wanted to be professional and polite and advising in my seriousness to disassociate myself from you. So it sounds like she raised that, or at least they had a discussion and she said, I'm very, I want to be disassociated from you. I'm done with you. And so she's reiterating it in writing. Like, what are your thoughts on that? She definitely removed them as visitors. If you looked at my video yesterday, it said like inmate requested removal. So they can't send her money. They obviously never visited her, but they said, I don't know. No, they were going to come early August before the family case on August 25th, but they're not on her visitors list because we looked at that yesterday too. So, but we know they were there for sentencing, at least one of them. So then she said, also to ask please to cease and desist. Her and her pleases. Don't her pleases always seem like they're in the wrong place in the sentence? Hope you can be professional in going our separate ways and understand all of my very legitimate reasons for this life-saving disassociation. So again, it sounds like she's listed her reasons on a phone call for their disassociation. Like she wants to be done. And I'm guessing, so this is September 18th. When was the family? It didn't go in until 9:30, right? So at this point, we know her. I'm just trying to think of the background context. Her closing argument is late, right? And at that point, I think New Zealand, Australia was saying, oh, it'll be there by the 19th. I think Danny reported that on her channel, Danielle Siobhan. It'll be there by the 19th or something. And it wasn't there. So they broke up the day before on the 18th. It didn't land until September 30th. I just want to go to the docket and make sure I'm remembering this. Because that was before I had a cesarean section and lots of narcotics. Okay. Sweet Pea is snoring up a storm. I'm sure you can hear him. It's kind of funny. Okay. Yeah, 9:30. Although one says 9:28. What's this one? Oh, 8:28. That was Brian's closing. And then she sent hers a month later, 9:30. So they broke up before this actually hit the docket. And I'm guessing maybe he like hurried up and got rid of it after that. Yeah, because this was not filed until 9:30. And it looks like it was filed electronically based on the strip across the top. Let me just show you guys that so you know what I'm talking about. So I know our Australian, New Zealand flying monkey likes to stir the pot, according to Lana. Because she was the one who had to run and tell Sarah that Lana was commenting on my videos. Okay, so you see this here, 9:30. filed, and there's no envelope in this. Respondent's written closing argument. So, and I think he, you know who, added this last page as a CYA. Whoops, as a CYA to say it was September 2nd. And you guys said for sure this is not Sarah's handwriting. So I think that was a CYA because it was so late. Which whatever your business is with her, I would just be honest. Like, I'm not going to send it or whatever, because it is like, not that I think she should win, but if they're so like worried about her being represented properly, I just, that bothered me. I don't know. But so that is there. And then her, yeah, cease and desist with that. She doesn't mention it in here though, like, please confirm you sent it, because I think it's already been communicated, right? Because I would think she would say that, have you sent it or confirm you've sent it or whatever. But then on her birthday, 10/10, it hits the docket of like, that person, I didn't tell them to do that, and here's my missing page. Because Australia and New Zealand ran and told her that. So then she says, I'll send a copy of your messages and my response to your attorney. So this, I saw Lazy Gamers, and he referenced the authorities as her lawyer. I think she means the authorities in the prison, me personally, because of what we saw on the visitors list of what she had them removed, and she references that in her, what does she say? And being advised, wait, in my serious, what did she say? I've been stating to the appropriate authorities to make sure I am still my own best advocate. You wrote before I could correspond with you. I wanted to be professional and polite in advising in my seriousness to disassociate myself from you, and being advised by said appropriate authorities that both of you have been removed as my visitors. So those are the people at the prison, because she insisted that they be removed, right? And that it's noted in there they were removed upon her request in case they, I guess, file another application. So then she sends it to the attorney, which I don't know why she would send anything to his attorney anyway, whether or not she thought they were an authority. It's, the attorney does not have to speak with her. She's not represented, so she would have to, like, if there were a communication, but there's nothing forcing him. There's no pending litigation. There's no open anything, right? But she sounds like she's being clever when she's like, I have his address from when we did blah, blah, blah. The thing about contracts, though, you can't unilaterally, one-sided cancel a contract signed by two people, right? So there has to be something else drawn up. Australia, New Zealand, if you're watching, let her know. So that part is weird, and I wonder what the contract is. So now we know for sure there is a contract. Because they're both saying it, and I'm not saying we know for sure because Sarah said it. They're both saying it, so I don't know why they would be lying to each other. Yeah. And then she sounds crazy. So she's letting him know, I've contacted the authorities. That means nothing, I'm sure. And also, it's kind of rude to send stuff to other people's lawyers, because then they've got to pay for it, right? You're racking up a bill for them that you're not going to contribute to. I would have just immediately called my lawyer and be like, she sent you something crazy. Don't open it. Just leave it, and see where it goes. I don't think they're going to end up in litigation, because Sarah couldn't afford a family court lawyer, and that was, in her mind, $62,000 on the line. Do we think she can afford one just to tell him to stop bothering her or cease and desist? But then that brings into question the legitimacy of these calls, right? Does he own them? Florida's a two-party consent state, and I saw in the threads they were going back and forth like, yes, they know they're recorded, but they don't know if it's going to be broadcast, right? Like, they know it's recorded, that it could be going to the authorities. And so what the authorities being like the court system, the DA, a judge would have to give a subpoena according to the emails that I've gotten trying to get calls. But, and also on their page, which I think that part's been taken down, they were claiming copyright on it. How are you going to copyright a call you don't own? You know? And then she says, look, let's ask this. Who's really in prison, Peter? You are, ma'am, for life. Like, what? I'm sorry and saddened, and you are obviously more miserable than I thought for you to say all in your message to me. Also, if they did have a phone call, that message is kind of wussy because why didn't you say all that on the phone with her? Why did you wait? You know what I mean? It's giving passive aggressive. I mean, his whole vibe is passive aggressive, but you know what I mean. Um, and then your other victim. So is he reaching out to other domestic violence people? And I hope somewhere in someone you're sending all your lures out to bites and makes you big, redeeming yourselves. So are they trying to be YouTube famous? I was watching Danielle Chavon read earlier the messages, and they talked about having access to 5 million YouTube subscribers via their connections on YouTube. That's what made me want to go back and look at those messages because it means something different to me now, than when we read it the first time. But whoever these other people are, please Google. I hope they Google their names and just see that they're not on the up and up. Just because you don't like, I've never produced a documentary, but I've worked on, I've been crew on documentaries before, and you have to be neutral, right? So like if you were, well, you don't have to do anything. I always say there's two things I have to do in life: that's stay black and die. You don't have to do anything. You would want to be neutral, impartial, so that you don't bring in your biases into it, right? Or your privilege or wherever your position is in life, right? Imagine you trying to befriend your subject and you're doing something on poverty, right? And you come in with assumptions and preconceived notions. It's going to be hard for you to truly tell that story. If you're like, why don't you have a toilet in your house? And then you make a face. That's like a judgment of like, ugh. They're not going to continue opening up to you. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just want to be neutral and not put yourself in the story, which clearly they put themselves in the story. I'm so glad my prayers have been answered and I can permanently distance myself from you. So it sounds like on her end, I mean, take it for what it's worth, it's Sarah. She had been troubled with their relationship in a while. Okay, before I go back to the others, I forgot I was showing that. I'm going to see what you guys are saying. I think she cares about appearance and power more than money, but they go hand in hand. Yes. And I think she knew they were going to share this communication, right? It's written like she wants us to read it. And his is written like, I know people are going to read it. So it is, although a lot of good it did for him. Again, it was super emotional. But it's good for men to be in touch with their emotions. I like to see it. Okay. I'm hoping the judge doesn't make her go into prison. I said that yesterday, like when she's talking in family court about how it was dangerous for him to be at her house at times. Well, it's dangerous at all times for him to be in a prison. Prisoners outnumber the guards. There's a no hostage situation. Not to saying that every visit, and she's in close custody, so someone with a gun is going to always be nearby, but still, like, why risk it? It's for her. Do you know? Because she, in her text messages, talks about how it might even be in the journal, but with Lana, she was like, yeah, I would comfort myself with my son, like afterwards, and I would go into my son's room. He's there sometimes when she goes into the room. So it's like you're dragging him into this. Like, she can't get rid of George, though, right? Because then she has to figure out she either has to get a job or she has to find someone else to help her pay the rent, because we talked about that yesterday. She did not make enough money to pay the rent on the townhome. She did not qualify. Again, don't take my word for it. Go to Orange County website, look up Sarah Boone. There is whatever the property manager is versus Sarah Boone. When they're evicting her, they attach her rental agreement lease to that, and she can't qualify without it. She can't qualify without George's money, which is why she then takes his license and birth certificate so she can control the money even once she's kicked him out. So she couldn't leave him because she didn't want to get a job. She had a job every blue moon, but no consistent employment while they were together, right? Yeah, it is just I don't know. I don't know. And then there was something to somebody emailed me. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of swirl. I'm trying to stay out of it as much as I can because I'm here with the baby. Um, but someone was saying like, was her, whether she did it, something to the effect of whether it was intentional or not makes a difference, or whether it was premeditated or not. It doesn't with second degree. So first of all, second degree is depraved heart, right? You killed someone without caring about their humanity, right? It doesn't matter if you premeditated it. And premeditation can be like 5 minutes before. It doesn't have to be like this elaborate plot, but it doesn't have to be premeditated and you can still get life. It's still a first degree felony in Florida, even though it's a second degree murder. And I mean, if that video doesn't show depraved heart, I don't know what does, when she's like taunting him. You know what I mean? She let this man die a slow, painful, deliberate death and was upstairs sleeping like a baby. I mean, that is depraved. And we didn't even know about the bat when we first saw the video. Nobody deserves that. His sister is still haunted by it. Can't close his suitcase because she imagines what if someone is in there. Yeah. I mean, if you've even choked for a little bit and couldn't breathe, you know what that feeling is. And then just to imagine having it sustained and you never get your breath back. And the person on the outside is laughing at you. The person who purports to love you is laughing at you. You can't get much crueler than that. And then to not take responsibility for it and get up and blame everybody else. They put up the call the day you gave birth because we know the date since you had it. Yeah, because it was this, I know. You know what? I don't want to think myself that important, but I did think that was weird. But maybe they knew I would be out of pocket and they would have a chance. But again, I think they would have had, I mean, you guys tell me what you think. I think they would have had a better launch if they said if they started off, it's us, the documentarians, and we fell out with Sarah and we've got some content. Right? Because then that puts you on the right side of history. But yeah, they did. They started that channel on the 23rd and they launched it on the 23rd, which I just thought it was weird. And then when someone was like, when I posted my video of like, oh, I was right, the snake oil salesman, someone was like, oh, this isn't new news. We've known about this. I was like, it just happened on 10/23. How could you have known? Like, you self-snitching? What you know about it? But yeah, it's upon. Oh, we did that. Where are we? What time is it? 4:05. Let me get down. I'm in the 3:45. Just like a child on the playground. I guess she found some stamps. Yes, I think she emailed those. She's judging for incarceration. More drama from the monster under the bed. Oh my god, it's so funny. I immediately thought of my son. There's no monsters under our bed. The monsters are outside because last night he was in the bed and he was pointing out of the room into the living room and he was like, there's a monster in there. Because we're in the bed all together, it's safe, but out there. But she's not under the bed. She doesn't have the decency to get under the bed. She's out and proud and just stomping around terrorizing everybody. And then she has the nerve to be upset that people are mean to her. Ma'am, you're mean to everyone who happens across your path, except in prison because you know they will tap that ass. Oh, I'm rhyming. But like, who are you? Hell yeah. Oh my God. I know you are, but what am I? Yeah, it's a little. Oh, thank you. Sunday Fun Day, Texas. Why they are shocked serotonin on them. This is the classic frog and scorpion tail. It really is. And what did they think was going to happen after what they did to Lana? She knew Lana first. She had more intimate conversations with Lana. Lana did way more for her than all of the flying monkeys together. And she was like, oh, well. And so apparently one of them was so upset that they didn't even talk to her after that, allegedly, purportedly. What did they think was going to happen? And they never presented as friends. It was always a business relationship, right? Yeah, she won't. She will never understand that saying it does not make it so. I think she says it so much she starts to believe it. Do you know? I mean, I think one of the greatest freedoms of being an adult, like a full-grown, mature adult, is getting to say you're wrong. What a great lesson. I love to be wrong. Like, I mean, even here, and it doesn't necessarily have to be wrong. It could be that we disagree, but I feel like good conversations come out of that as long as as long as it is a respectful disagreement. We don't always agree, the lovelies and I, but we talk about it respectfully. I like hearing other people's opinion because again, we all come through with a bias. And so I may have a different bias than you have. So I may see something differently than you see it, and vice versa. So I want to hear how you're seeing it. But we only can do that calmly. If we're like emotional and angry and blah blah blah, we're never going to get to the middle. Um so she doesn't have that like luxury, I guess. She doesn't allow herself the luxury of being wrong and learning and growing. Um what brought us this delightful letter? Everybody was talking about it yesterday in the live. I hadn't seen it. So apparently she's fallen out with her documentarians back in September. And then about a month later, so that was September 18th when they officially called it quits. And then a month later, on my son's birthday, literally the day they cut him out of me, up popped her documentarian's new YouTube, but they were separating themselves from it. They said there's documentarians that had worked with her for over a year, which is not quite true because I looked at it. They first were introducing themselves in August, and Lana was still vetting them. So that's why I want to go back through the text. Another reason why, because you guys will see. And some of you guys remember things I don't remember. So I also love that. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, I just like data. I like data points. I like triangulating data. And so, former compliance auditor at a bank where I went over federal regulations, local regulations, state regulations, and made sure we were good. Um, Regulations like KYC, know your client, and different things like that. If there was people were being discriminated against, so I had to compare files based on the demographics, like all of that. So that's my jam, even though I don't do that anymore. I moved to New York in 2008 in the middle of the banking crash. I moved here in August. And so those jobs were scarce. So I had experience launching websites because I had to test them for compliance. So I shifted into technology and I've been in technology ever since. First, it was infrastructure and now it's television technology. But yeah, it just, I don't know. It's like finding a needle in a haystack when you like put it all together and you're like, oh, it's this, it's that. Yeah, so like I don't know why they had to tell the lie. Someone was like, "Oh no, they're saying they worked with her for 2 years." That is definitely not true. She didn't They did not connect with her until August. And I have all their video visit logs, you know? So like the data is out there. What you do in the darkness will be made known in the light. Now, am I causing you trouble by revealing your actions? That's not my fault. That if you didn't take those actions, there would be nothing for me to reveal. And so starting with taking accountability for your own actions is a good place to start, in my opinion. Um, Hello, how Junkie the Bear. Oh my god. Um, does anyone have the Reddit link? Let's see if I can find it again. Give me 1 second. So this one is Peter's. Oh, here it is. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. This is Sarah's Satan's girlfriend's final email. Okay, where are you guys? I just don't want to show it because it's got their logo and stuff on it. It looks like it's taken, I don't know, from their website or some other place. But it's on Reddit now. But again, I just want to disengage. Probably not. I swear, I think she has like a reverse Bible of like look up something and then here are the quotes that apply to it or the scriptures that apply to it, because I'm just like, even the flea thing she gets wrong. It's lie down with dogs, get up with fleas. And she's like, play with dogs. Like, no, because then we all play with our dogs. All of our dogs don't have fleas, but lie down with dogs, like these stray men out in the streets. Yeah. She's a Proverbs 31 woman. Oh my God. Okay, I'm still in the 3 o'clock. So let me skip down. Oh wait, what's this? Thank you, Gail. I appreciate you. I I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you for being here. I hope you are well. If not, I hope you are on your way to getting well. It gets better every day, I promise. Some days are good, some days are bad. Bad days help us appreciate the good days. I wonder how copyright and power of attorney is going to play out with the prison in Sarah. Nobody on Reddit at least can figure it out. So I would say her durable power of attorney, my 2 cents is that was to get her money from family court, right? Because she cannot have more than $300 in her account at one time. At one point, she wrote in her like prayer for relief that she wanted Brian to pay her $300 a month, which he would be entangled with her for another 18 years. He divorced her in 2018 for a reason because he don't want to with her no more. So good luck on that. So then she tricked, or you can't really trick a grown man, right? Then she enticed her documentarian to be her durable power of attorney, which from a business sense, I don't know how that's not a conflict of interest. I don't. Um, yeah. Like I wouldn't be doing that. Not for a coworker, not for someone I was engaging in a production. Like that is I don't know. Yeah, so we'll see. And the copyright thing, I looked in one place and I couldn't find where they had copyrighted anything under the whatever the second chance. I didn't think about it, like maybe they copyrighted it under something else and just led us to believe that. So I need to go back and look at it because you have to look at it by the entity doing the copywriting. I don't know the name of the material. You know what I mean? Um, so I don't think it's copyrighted, not legally, like with the copyright office. These people, like everyone else, know what she did just by watching the one suitcase video. These guys cannot tell me for 1 second they thought she was innocent. Yeah, and giving her the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, you can't hear him. He's not feeding anymore, so it's easier for him to breathe. He's just regular snoring now. Oh my God, Kathy came over this weekend. Most of you guys know, but she told me because remember I said I was going to ask her the question about all the water because I can't feel it because I had a spinal block. It was worse than I thought. I knew something was wrong, but she was like the best birth coach ever because she didn't. I don't think she would have ever told me if I didn't ask her. And I remember my doctor saying, "You are a really good coach," because there's a sheet so I can't see. She kept it like whatever the drama was going on in the corner with the baby, she kept it to herself. And there was a lot of drama. Like he went super white. I mean, he's already pale, but he went super white. He wasn't breathing. She said not only did they suction him, they stuck a tube down his throat. So I was like, oh my God, because I'm asking like, what's his APGAR score? And I think everybody froze, and they're like, we'll get it in a second. And I felt like something was wrong, but I didn't go to the bad place. But yeah, they weren't focused on the APGAR, but it was 7 and 7 both times. But he had an incident. But he had engaged in my pelvic. This, I'm not going to go into all the gory details, but there's a lot of pressing to get him out. And then obviously I had excess fluid. We knew that going in, and he swallowed some of that. So there was a little bit of, but I was none the wiser. We went home and everything was fine. And I just happened to ask, and then she told me, but it was, she was a very good coach. Num, 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 num. Yeah. He's got a good appetite. I weighed him. He's over 9 pounds this morning. I'm super excited for him. Having trouble getting enough calories, but that's a horse of a different color. I would release it all for free and therefore no honey bun money for Ms. Paulson. I would too, because it felt like the entry felt like we're going to recoup our cost. You know what I mean? Which I think would have been easier had they said we've broken off with her. We finally see her for who the world sees her for. You know what I mean? Hello. Hello, sexy. How are you doing? Are you going live later? You guys, if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button over on Kuma Loudmouth's video. She's covering Sarah and some other stuff. She's got a sarcasm like nobody's business, and I'm here for all of her snark. Just she could give a look and it's done. She often shows about like a 10-year-old mentality. Yeah, I try to give her the benefit of the doubt and get to 14 because I feel like junior high freshman, but she's a child. She's a child, which is why she can't grow because she can't learn from any of her mistakes. It's always someone else's fault. So how do you grow? Wherever you go, people are doing you wrong. Just stay inside. She's right where she needs to be. Because whoever does her wrong is also already being punished. Um, Based on his Reddit post, I doubt he cares what her response is. Oh my god. On his Reddit post of what he sent to her, he sent I gotta go back through. He sent something else on Reddit about her. I don't know. I think Nicole wants to be the last one standing. Nicole, she gives narcissists too. I'm not a doctor, obviously not a lawyer. I'm a mom in my living room with 2 cents. Um, she likes the triangulation. Like I noticed that with her and Lana, which is why I call her the pot stirrer. Right? She likes that triangulation. When everyone is gone and there's nobody else to triangulate, she'll just be left with Sarah, and then she'll have to decide if she deserves to be treated that way, if she likes it, if she benefits from that relationship. So I know because I was again in the text messages. Her first text message was also in August of last year, and she tells Sarah that she lives with her parents. She just had to move back home because of finances, and she doesn't necessarily get along with her parents. She has a son who has the same name as Sarah's son, but spelled differently, and he has special needs. So that disgusted me that she was sending Sarah money. You're at home with your parents. Your parents are supporting you and your disabled son, and you're sending money to Sarah. That is irresponsible, in my opinion, as a mother. But, yeah, on her birthday, she sent it on 10/10, that letter. After her closing hit the docket and after she was told that a page was missing. So her document didn't hit until 9:30. So by the time her closing argument arrived that he had helped her with, they were already done. You do? Barely legal briefs? You want to have a friend like Sarah? Sarcasm. They're not legally supposed to give money to Sarah. Not sure how they didn't know that. I don't know if I believe they didn't know it. I mean, even if nobody told you that's the law, just like from a moral standpoint, she shouldn't benefit from being in prison voluntarily or in jail at that time when they first started giving her money. And to be fair, on the books, it only has one of their names on there. So I shouldn't say they gave her money. They could have pulled it together, but the evidence shows it was one of them. And I think it was like just under $800 from the time they met in August through November. Cause I didn't get a full December's cause she had transferred. I usually get it the month after, like in January. And I was like, well, she's already gone. So from August to November, he gave her just under $800, like $775 or something. Um, just morally, if she doesn't have deodorant, she voluntarily doesn't have deodorant because she voluntarily decided to murder someone. So I don't know why she needs help from anybody else. Consequences. Yeah, I just, but there's Slayer laws, there's Son of Sam laws. Yeah, like if you just need to give money away, George's son is disabled for life. He's going to have a caretaker for life, and his mom is not going to probably outlive him, or she is going to probably outlive him. I don't know exactly her age and her health, but in general, we expect for parents to die first. It's very tragic when children die first. But either way, if you just need to give money to victims, he's clearly a victim in all of this. No hand, no contribution to the BS. Lightweight cleaning. I need to do some lightweight cleaning. What scathing punishment to not allow them to give her money. So I think she already knows. And I'm wondering if that's part of like the shutdown. It's not, at first I was like, as I was hearing drips and drabs, I didn't read these until earlier today. I was thinking it was related to them cutting it off, but they cut it off before they even created the page, before they even started. And they started right away with the Patreon, which that part was just like, well, that's weird. And And then it was the journal, and it's like no consideration for the victims. I know people were saying they reported them for telling her like disparaging story, because someone was saying there's a law against that too, of like disparaging your victim, like your known victim who's died. And so when she's saying all these bad things about George, like why give her that platform? um But again, I think there's a bias that plays into that, right? If you know or have had experience with brown people with tattoos who do bad things, it's easier to believe that narrative, right? And she like drips and drabs it out, like on the interrogation scene when she's like, they've always hated me. They call me the blue-eyed dragon. Like she's like subliminals. Like he's different than me. I have blue eyes. He does not. His family is violent. They're evil. Um, the detectives were having none of it, right? They cleared their bias, because even when she was like Eli and Kim, and I don't know if I can say this, I don't know if I should say this, but he's here illegally, and Scott was like, what does that have to do with anything? So they didn't bite, right? But everybody doesn't have that. Even the narrative about how when she's in there like, oh, he paid a bill or two. No, biatch, he paid part of the rent, because you only made $1,000, $1,100, 1,000 for alimony, 100 for child support. Stop playing. He wasn't just paying a light bill because you didn't have enough money to pay the rent. That's why she couldn't get rid of him. When people were like, why didn't she leave? She couldn't. She'd have to go back to Brian's house. She created that situation. She never had a place on her own. And then she still doesn't. I mean, imagine that, being almost 50 and never being able to afford a place for just you. Oh, Proverbs 31. Wait, which one is Proverbs 31? I'm such a heathen. Is slowing down. Know that, know that. It's gonna be slow, because I think a lot of us are kind of put off by it. That's why I didn't want to cover the calls. I mean, maybe now that all the drama is over, I might cover them, but I did not want to be responsible for 1 cent going to Sarah. Um, yeah, because what did she do to earn it? I know there's some monkey or some flying monkey or some hater who was like in somebody else's chat, oops, saying, how am I not a grifter? Well, because I'm working for it. I didn't murder anybody. And I'm not on here, asking for deodorant money. And I actually pay to be here, unlike Sarah, right? I got to pay for StreamYard, editing tools. I pay for FOIA, for lights, for the new mic. Like, I'm not here freeloading or dry bagging. So I don't even know how would I get in the mix? But they'll do anything for their savior, Sarah. They'll come up with all kinds of whatnot. Yes, I agree. It was a mutual using, right? And each one was hoping they didn't get caught, but they knew they were each using each other. I agree with that 100%. I don't think either one of them had good intentions. And it was always destined to end this way. It was just a matter of when, which is why it would have been such a much more interesting story to lead with that. Sarah sent us a farewell letter and then start that. The internet would have took off with it. They might have made $1. So maybe it's good they didn't come up with that. And then dripped it out like we have so much more. It's not very businessy for people who have like MBAs. I just have a Bachelor of Science in Management from Pepperdine. I didn't go to the fancy NYU. But to each his own. I believe they never did think that. I think they were trying to find a reason or a shred of a sane person, which I wouldn't blame them for. I remember talking about that with Lana. Like, do you think she'll ever, because I do believe in redemption. I mean, from my own background, right? Like, you can turn things around once you start accepting responsibility for things and taking action to change, knowing that you need to change. So I do believe in redemption. So I was wondering if Lana thought that Sarah would ever redeem herself, and would she ever feel regret? And she was like, I don't think it's in her. She knows her far better than I do. So yeah. And if they're like real documentarians, they would have had a similar conversation with Lana, I think their conversations were figuring out how to work Sarah to get what they wanted. But she hasn't told anyone that she actually did it. So I guess I don't understand, what did he think she was going to reveal to him? She never wanted to talk about her family. She didn't want to do pictures. She didn't want to be the story, even though she's absolutely the main character. Um, and there's so many pages and pages and pages of documentation about her. Look what I've found. I don't think they've read through any of that stuff. They did not realize that George was paying the rent or was contributing to the rent. Sarah couldn't pay it on her own, right? Not realizing that George had never been in an abusive relationship before, both of his ex-wives. He has no violent history. The detective, Billy Lane, I got that in my JAC pool, right? He went back to Philadelphia. Nobody had a bad thing to say about George Torres. Nobody. Whereas everybody had a bad thing to say about Sarah. Everybody who ran into her had something bad to say. So it's just like, you, before you even reached out to her, you didn't do your homework. And then you're praying for some magical redemption from her. Several letters, she can still take him to court. She will just have to represent herself again. That is true. She could represent herself. Yeah, I guess so. But what's would be the jurisdiction? Because she's in Florida and he's in New York. So would it be New York? Because the recording happened. Well, I guess technically it happened in both places. I don't know. Be interesting. But what would she sue him for? Not monetary damages. She can't claim defamation because she's a public figure and she's done a great job of, well, not even defaming herself, because the truth is not defamation. I mean, she might try and sue them. I don't know. I don't know. I have it on good authority that she's threatened to sue YouTubers. It didn't go anywhere, but they can make money from Sarah, that they could get media attention and sell something. Yeah, but they missed the boat. Like, if they would have gotten it out like right after sentencing or right after verdict, maybe even before. But again, they met her in August. Her trial started in October. They were trying to get into the prison, and that's when she did the whole thing, because they had invited Lana, and then she stabbed Lana in the back and was like, you aren't you too tired to come? Like, Lana had introduced her son. He's gonna take me, help me with my wheelchair on and off the airplane, etc., etc. And then she went back to the documentarians, like, oh, I don't think she should go. I'm worried about her. She's overtaxed. I think she was jealous. Like, why was Lana coming to steal her limelight type energy on her poor? I know. I think her son is her long game plan, unfortunately. So I hope Judge Jackson sees that. I'm sure she does. I feel like she's wise beyond her years. For free. Yeah, that would have gone a long way. If they would have dropped 10 for free, that would have gone a long way. And that would have gotten the word out about her, um or about their efforts, right? Like, I give away a lot of stuff for free. I'll put my watermark on it, but it doesn't hurt me to help out other channels. The more you're interested in what I'm talking about, it's good for other creators to talk about it too. I do that. Like, I will watch the same content, like this, it's based on the same material from different creators, because I want to hear what their take is on it, right? So it doesn't hurt me to give away what I paid for, which is what made me so mad when the one girl like stole it and then didn't even credit me. You could see my watermark, but she didn't say anything. Like, I wouldn't have had a problem if she would have just said where she got the material from. But anyway, you're not here to hear about all my grievances. But you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't hurt. So if they would have dropped 10 calls and everybody would have like jumped on, because look how everybody started talking about it after Jumpsuit Pablo and AG. But you'll watch other creators because they have different takes. Like, I'm gonna have a very different take on the calls than Jumpsuit Pablo because I'm in the weeds with the story. You know what I mean? And so it just helps. But no, they put up the fake copyright, the story that they were not the documentarians, but the documentarians gave them this. Like, it was just loud and wrong. And it crumbled. Hello, you're not late. You're just on time. And you wrote that at 3:58. What is a CO going to do to Sarah? A CO? Like a correctional officer? I don't know. Um, Buzzman Jr.'s in here. Do you think Peter did not agree with her on something serious, pushback, and now? I don't know. I think part of it was the closing argument, personally, not getting in on time. Because by 9:18, they know he was supposed to send it. It's not showing up on the docket, and they're freaking out. They being her and the New Zealand/Australian FM. Super Kelly. Write lots of letters to everyone and anyone. But see, then that's what I wonder, because she'll have to reveal her hand. And once, if they turn around and say, well, she was asking us for money, and then we didn't know what to do. Because she's not only asking them in the text messages for money, she's negotiating getting a kidney for Lana and how they can help. Do you know what I mean? So she immediately wanted something from them. That's when they should have backed off and been like, that's weird. We just want to know your story. We're trying to help you out, get the word out. Yeah. She is going to lean heavily. Yeah. Yeah, and it's always like, be careful what you want. She wants to be top dog, top monkey, but she's going to be the only one standing, and then it's all going to be on her. Yeah, they talked about it on one of the calls, durable power of attorney, which is for finances. So she's saying they broke it off, but again, you need another instrument signed by both parties. Just saying it is not going to do it because it's durable. Yeah, I think they did. Yeah, totally lost their objectivity. Oh, of course, Sunday Funday. Some people have much more bias. Some people have, and sometimes I don't even want to say it's bias. Well, it is bias, but it's not like meant in a negative way. It's just in a certain, like, people from my hometown who've only lived in my hometown try to give me advice. I live in Manhattan. It doesn't apply because they think the world works everywhere the way the world works for them in my hometown, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I get my groceries delivered. I'm not going to the grocery store. I need a super lightweight stroller, but it's durable. I don't mean one like a carnival stroller, because people were like trying to get me a Graco stroller. I'm like, I'm never going to get a Graco up and down a subway. Like, I need it to be 14 pounds. That's it. Because then I got to have the child inside of it also, right? If you have a car, that's a different world. I mean, you might be in Brooklyn and have a car, so you don't even have to be in my hometown. But you can just roll it out to the car and pop it in there. I'm carrying it up and down stairs because, amazingly enough, New York is not all ADA compliant, and I don't think it has to be for like another 10 years. So there's not an elevator at every subway stop. But those are small examples of, like, we tend to see the world through the lens that we walk through every day and don't remember to, like, broaden up and think it might be different for a different person. I was talking about that in a group chat, like, even during COVID, like, I was amazed to find out we did mentorships for high school kids as part of one of the ERGs at work. And when all of the people went home, I was already in California because my mom was sick, so I'd left before COVID happened, so I was already remote. But then when everybody else here went home, I'm like, well, just have them log onto their laptop. The kids don't all have laptops. And I thought, well, if they don't have personal ones, doesn't the school give them one? Not necessarily. And some didn't have Wi-Fi at home, like internet at home at all. Like, that blew my mind. I couldn't even conceive of it. But that's my own bias because I have a different existence. You know what I mean? So sometimes those things play in. And I think Sarah is very aware of people's biases and plays on it perfectly. Which is what makes her a great manipulator. She reads people. Why she can't read herself, I don't know. I mean, reads, like, not read like a Cynthia Bailey, Housewives of Atlanta. Did you guys see Portia got into an altercation at the airport? That was over on Real Talk Bougie. Some woman claimed she hit her, and everybody else on the plane was like, no. Truth be told, it was an older white lady, and Portia's a young black woman. I think she just didn't want her sitting next to her. But then when they moved the lady got upset. So then when they got off, they had to go to the FBI. But again, it's these biases, right? I believe the woman who claimed to have been hit had a bias that this woman should not be sitting next to me in first class. I could be wrong. That's what it was given to me. Thank you. Oh my God. I feel older. The lack of sleep that I'm getting, but I appreciate you. No one else would not want Sarah. She was not a catch. Brian held on to her. Also on Danielle Siobhan's channel, she has some pictures. One of her students, as she calls her folks, sent her pictures of Sarah at like an office party or something. She was so much fuller. She looked like relatively normal. Not like the sick person in the pink shorts, you know? What happened? Like that was a long road down. So at some point she had employment. It looked like she had friends. But alcohol is a shitty thing. Between her and George was 103 pounds. Like that was not alcohol was not their friend. Uh but in my opinion, it's the mistake of the viewer to assume no bias. That's the standard, but not everyone is ethical. That's fair, Margarita Sings. That is fair. I do feel like with honest journalism, they check their bias because none of us can remove it, right? But we can be open to other ideas or someone explaining to us, like, hey, everybody doesn't have that, or everybody doesn't do that, or everybody's not doing anything. Whenever we get into everybody, that's always an issue. So even just to cast your experience onto someone else is like presumptive, right? Get to know that person, figure it out. I am not immune to it. I do it and then I check myself. Hopefully more often than not. But yeah, it's crazy. Prisons are not for 15-year-old boys, even if he were 100% that's fair. Yeah. Yeah. I just think of the whole process as being degrading. Like I said, I've gone into federal prison. My oldest brother was doing 2 life sentences. I don't know if I told you guys this, like right before I had the baby, he got out and he posted on Facebook. I haven't talked to him. My oldest sister sent me the Facebook, which that was a whole other thing. But going into the prison, you have to have like a clear bag. This was in the 90s, so I'm not sure if this is the same, but you had to have like a clear bag so they could see all your stuff. You couldn't have like a regular purse. Your clothing couldn't be too tight, it couldn't be too short, it couldn't be too revealing. There were all these specifications, so usually you'd have to like, not that all my clothing is tight and revealing, but you have to have like an outfit purchased for this just to make sure, because you don't want to get turned around. You're driving to see them. Also, you need to call before you get on the road because there could be either a lockdown or some disciplinary action going on with your person you're going to visit or other people, and they're not letting any visitors in. And it could happen 5 minutes before you pull up, but you do call before you go. The searching, the patting down, the touching, the degradation, they're not nice. Like they're looking at everybody. They're especially rough with people who bring in babies. I guess there was some incident or incidents, or it's a known thing that people sneak in things in like baby carriers or diapers, which yuck. What kind of parent are you? But then they're really rough with them. I've seen it. At least this was Lompoc Federal in above LA is where he was. And then I went all the way up north when I had a prison pen pal, and I went into a state prison and I couldn't even touch him. So I'm guessing maybe he was on close. I didn't know what that meant at the time. He was behind a glass. Like when I went to see my brother, I could touch him, I could hug him. This one, we could not breathe the same air. He was behind a glass. I was on the other side, and there was a guard behind him. He was in for attempted murder. So my brother was in on RICO drug charges. He got 2 life sentences. I don't know how he got released, but he's out. So yeah, I just driving for an hour, then having to sit there with her and your dad because he's got to be there present. What are they even going to talk about? Is Sarah going to just be like dry begging for dad to give her something? And the visitors have to purchase her food for the day, right? Well, I don't know, because some of you guys are saying it's only half hour. Like where we went, it was you were allowed to go for hours unless there were more people in queue, like where I'm talking about Lompoc. Unless, because I would go with his girlfriend. Unless there were more people in queue outside to come in and all the tables were full, then they would enforce the timeline. But you could be there like 3 or 4 hours. Your money is in this clear bag. You go over to the vending machines, and then there's microwaves because the prisoners can't go back in and get stuff out of the canteen or the commissary or the kitchen, right? They're there with you. So you have to buy all their food out of the vending machines. You take in your money in quarters. It's probably different now because back then we didn't even have smartphones yet. You had a BlackBerry if you were lucky. I had one for work, but not until, oh my God, 2006, I think I got my first BlackBerry, 2007. But yeah, so you have the quarters, you go to the vending machine, you go to the microwave, there's guards watching you. If you go to the bathroom, they're patting you down when you come back because some women sneak in drugs in their hoo-ha. And how do they get it out? They got to go to the bathroom and then they come back and it's out. They usually are giving them, I know way too much. I get obsessed with information. They give them a kiss at the end and they transfer the bags. And the inmate swallows the bags of drugs and gets them out in their poop later. So they're on you like a hawk. Oh, it's thumbsing it up. In and out of the bathroom. It's just not a place for kids. It's not Disneyland. Well, there are perverts there. It's not a day in the park. I'm hoping Brian offered that, like his attorney said, to offer it as a way to appear generous and willing. I just hope the judge doesn't allow it. She's clearly using him. She's clearly trying to manipulate him. Why else is he in tears multiple times after their calls? And his dad is asking him what's wrong. And this insistence on giving him gifts, it's giving, after all I've done for you one day. You know what I mean? And she hasn't really done anything. Like, her people are sending stuff. But just the fact that she doesn't know better not to give her address to people she met on the internet, not to give her son's address and Brian's address to people she met on the internet. Like, she doesn't have that level of self-awareness to protect him. She shouldn't let Brian make all the decisions. And I hope when little man turns 18, they all change their phone numbers. One of you guys said they should get a Google Voice account and only give that number so she has limited access, and then give a time to call. I think it has to be a range. Unless she's calling on the tablet, I don't think like she can just agree to do a time. But hell, she's got plenty of time. Y'all saw the call list. She calls a lot. A lot. Okay, let me get down here. Welcome, Melissa Snyder. Retired Not Bored is in here. How are you? I can't see you, but I see someone responded to you. All confused because they had so little to begin with. They admitted they always thought her guilty and were trying to manipulate her to give them their jinx moment. Wait, what? Did they say that? Jinx? They thought she was going to be a Robert Durst? Oh my God. Well, first of all, you got to get her wired up. Remember when he whispered under that hot mic? Oh, that was such a good series. Jinx was badass. And he finally got convicted. He's passed now, right? Didn't he die in prison? It took forever for what was it, Susan Berman? That took forever. Clearly, by the way he spelled Beverly, it was him. I don't know why it took so money. He has a lot of money. But even he got caught in the end. Yeah, I did not know that. Okay, Margarita sings, are you also Meowgarita? Because the image is the same. Do you change it when you're in Hear Me Outs? Am I tripping? And you both go to school if you're two different people. I feel like Sarah overwhelmed PG and JD just like she does everyone else. They probably never intended to become as enmeshed as they did in the end. She manipulates, charms, uses pity tactics. Yeah. And I think PG was especially susceptible. He takes in wounded animals, lost animals, abandoned animals. Maybe he saw her as an abandoned animal. Maybe he had a connection with her because she took in a blind and deaf dog, and he takes in, he said he named a duck after her in the messages. You know what I mean? Like, so maybe that was it. And maybe he didn't understand how evil people could be. Yes. Oh yeah, the live. Is that what it doesn't do that in StreamYard though. Maybe you're talking to somebody else. Let's see, what do we have starred? Days Fan 92, thank you for becoming a member or being a member for 3 months. Sorry. Woohoo. Mary, member for 2 months. I appreciate you. 9 months. Marsha Klepper, 11 months. I need to make more markers because I think I only made them to like 13 months and we're now past that because the channel is going to be 18 months next month. Because I started in June of 24. So I need to make those. So they're coming. I'll do it this weekend. Chilly and foggy in Connecticut. Oh, you're close. Danny Cam, Danny Carm, welcome. Danny Carm, sorry, my glasses are dirty. Why they are shocked, serotonin on them. This is a classic. Oh yeah, we did that. Oh my God, I'm all the way back. Sorry, I went the wrong way. Baby needs a new pair of shoes. A good day. Her death email? I'll have to look. They posted it on Reddit. Kathy, I was talking about you and your fabulous birth partner work support person. Not telling me all the crazy that was going on over there. Marissa Marie, and thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, it's been a wild, wild ride. I don't think he'll be forced to go visit. I could be wrong. I don't think he'll be forced to go visit. Yeah, she would be. And the fact that she's whining about it on the phone, but it seemed interesting on that one call. I think it was Jumpsuit Pablo. I mean, I think they're all the same calls, but there was one call where she's talking about him not coming in the application, and it seems like her documentarian is trying to explain to her, well, he doesn't have to right now. And she's like, what are you talking about? That doesn't count. No, it does count because the judge may say he doesn't have to visit. I mean, it was all preemptive, proactive. He was trying to, finally play along, I guess, that he might bring him. So he sent in the applications that she filed. Justice, what are you doing, honey? Oh God, they're gathering on the chair behind me. I'm scared. They are that it's all included in her because he wants sole. He didn't ask for custody. I mean, he has him, and in Florida they don't call it custody. But he didn't ask to terminate her rights. He just asked to have sole decision making responsibility. Which she got confused in there. Because at the trial, she's like, oh, I'm so confused. I'm trying to figure out what my rights are. Well, where's that $600 book that your brother bought you about family law? It's not explaining it in there. You know what I mean? So you do have to change it that way for every stream. Uh-oh. I don't know what I've done. People are wondering what the documentarians went to jail for. So I only know of one of them going to jail, so I'm not sure what she's referring to. Both of them have been arrested, but one of them went to, and it's in, I just don't want to say it anymore. It's in a video I did on a deep dive, but for drug trafficking. So yeah, it came up because it was on the application. One of them, Pumpkin Eater. Can you pick up what I'm putting down? Pumpkin Eater put that he had never been arrested. And so his initial visitation application was denied because they found it. And so then that's when I went looking for it. And it was OWI, operating while intoxicated, in New York. But I did not see a sentence with it. I just saw that arrest. The other one I think took a plea deal. Yeah, she is the plea. That's funny. Oh my God, she really is. Oh, welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you. West Coast Mesh Fighter. What is that? What's a mesh fighter? I'm originally from California. I don't know if that's where you are on the West Coast, but I live in New York, but I'll always be a California girl. Do you believe Sarah is really interested in Christianity, or is it just, oh, it's a ruse? It's a ruse. Because she had the opportunity, the reason her last move happened to the annex is because she wanted AC, but she had to leave the faith-based program that she was in. So are you into Jesus? You're into AC more than Jesus? It doesn't sound like you're really into Jesus. I don't know. I'm a heathen, so I'm not going to judge anybody, but I'm just saying. Now I wonder how many wonderful people I missed on other live chat. Oh, that's you talking to pretend lawyer. Okay. Yeah, what is she alerting his lawyer for? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And that is not how you get out of a contract. So, oh, Kathy, you're here. Durable power of attorney. She can't just unilaterally cancel that, right? Like, doesn't there need to be a paper, like some sort of document that undoes that? Whoops. For durable power or POA? I, if Sarah is religious, then no one should ever be again. Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't do it either. Especially not the durable power of attorney. I don't even think my mom would let us do that for her. We had to go through a whole thing of like preparing for her death in 2020 when she first got cancer, and that was brutal. Um, aren't big on ethics, yeah. But at least pretend, know that other people are worried about ethics. Like, don't be surprised that it negatively impacts your business when people find out that you're being unethical. Like, what? Encourages her delusions of grandeur. Yes, not intentional. Um, Jessica. Oh my God, it's almost 5. Okay, no wonder it looks dark outside. It is. We're gonna wrap up. I'm gonna look at the rest of these because sometimes I leave and then I feel bad. I see them after you guys are gone. Let's party mild and lazy and get lots of healing rest and say yes, yes to all of that. My 15-year-old daughter has been more mature than Sarah for years. She can take accountability for action, something Sarah never will be able to do. Also, I was thinking about this. You know, sometimes children don't take accountability for actions. If you hit your kids, I'm not coming for you. I'm just like, as a matter of studies and, documentation, they're prone to lying because they don't want to be hit. So they're not going to take accountability because at some point they figure out you can't see everything, so you might be wrong, or they've already figured out you are wrong sometimes and you can't admit it, so they get hit. Like I'll give an example. I went to so most of I went to a different school every year in my same town. I don't know why. It's my mother's business. I didn't until high school. I went to a school 3 years in a row. The first time when I went to high school, third grade, West Fresno Christian Academy. There was a girl named Angela Brown. I think my last name was still Brown at that time, so we were both Browns, not related. Copied my test. We had the exact same score. They called us into the principal's office. They asked us who copied whom. I knew for sure I didn't copy her. So I'm like, she copied me. And then she like started crying. And how dare you? And you copied me. We both got paddled. That is the first time I figured out adults don't know everything. They got it wrong. So it didn't matter if I told the truth and she lied because they didn't know. Right. So if you're in that situation and you finally figure out, all I have to do is say I didn't do it. In her case, it didn't work. We both got punished because they weren't going to let it fly. But they knew they were punishing one of the kids who didn't have anything to do with it. Right. So maybe her parents were strong with the paddle or with the hand, or her teachers were, her principal was. And so she just doesn't admit to it. It's the Bart Simpson defense. I didn't do it. Nobody saw me do it. You can't prove a thing. So maybe it's just, it doesn't occur to her that she needs to tell the truth. I'm not justifying it. I'm just throwing out stuff. I was surprised too that they stayed so long. I was watching the call log. But once she threw him under the bus, once we saw that note on 1010, I knew all bets were off. If not immediately before, immediately thereafter. Because no way I'm bending over backwards to do stuff for you, and then you're just going to throw me under the bus on blast to the judge accusing me of, is it perjury? At least falsifying a signature. You know what I mean? I would have been too through, as my mom likes to say. As soon as someone tells them who they are or make boundaries, they burn, baby, burn. Yeah, she is not a fan of a boundary. But it seems like they might not be either. It seems like JD might have stronger boundaries because even in the messages, like once she sent that terse message, he was done negotiating with her when she was like, I need a lawyer and don't tell me you know how I feel. You have no idea how I feel. And then PG came right back with, oh, we know, and we're going to do this and this and this. And if you're doing your first documentary, I don't know that I would bite so big. You know what I mean? Reach so high. I mean, lofty goal, especially with that particular subject of a human being, as in Sarah, not DV. It's very strange. Thank you. Oh, I said this baby needs a new pair of shoes. He's not wearing shoes yet, but we appreciate you. He's gonna get a snazzy outfit or something. So 13 is there. Yeah. Prepubescent. Yes. I'm saying yes. I don't know for sure, but I feel like this, with her triangulation tactics, she really lit the fire. Because she did for Lana. She was reporting back that Lana was a member, that she made positive comments about the content. And that was somehow a betrayal. When in the beginning, I honestly think she was getting intel because she was a member before I reached out to her. When I reached out at the behest of the Lovelies to get an interview, I put it on the members only side and said, if anybody's in contact, let her know I want to talk to her. Well, she saw it. She told me she saw it. So that means she had to be a member. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's a 99-cent membership. I don't know why Sarah was so mad. I mean, at most, I was going to get $12 for the year from her. You know what I mean? It's not like she was paying my mortgage. So, yeah. Sarah's email about Lana is now on Reddit. Okay, let me see if I can find it, and then we're going to wrap up. Because it's Friday, and the little guy does not ever like to be the last one. Let me refresh. Is it under the thread? Can somebody put the link in the chat? Is it under the Sarah Boone continued? Oh, they're showing me car seats. I know I'm shopping for car seats. Isn't that creepy how the web follows you everywhere? Because I'm definitely looking for a new car seat. Okay, this is... Oh, someone made the illegally released calls on Reddit. More drama for the monster under the bed after Lana's passing. I can't really see this. What does it say? So I see one to JD regarding FYI, Lana died yesterday. That's the subject. Hang on one second. I'm going to mute you guys. My 5 o'clock Google alarm. Okay, let me go back. So Lana passed. That's one I see. And then, excuse you, sir. God, these are tiny. Okay, hold on. I'm not going to show these, but it's a Securus e-messaging. So the tablets to JD morning, everywhere online. So I'm guessing they told her it's online everywhere. She probably said, how do you know? Because she's starting with everywhere online. It's just Lana. Like, what? So she doesn't believe it's everywhere online because it's just Lana, like as if she's insignificant. Wow. You haven't checked the end all be all second coming of Christ social media experts website? Okay. I think I saw a clip of this, or someone was referencing this because I remember the second coming of Christ social media website, which someone was telling me, is this you? I was like, I don't know. Am I the... I don't think so. Is anyone available to let me know what has not been done, please? To my effing family law case, please. So she didn't shed a tear. Please, I have 15 days left. This was May 12th. I know too, everyone has their real world lives. I do, which I'd like to one day have also, please. And I don't want to seem emotionless, but if you could please just call me, tell me what I need to do and worry about on top of everything else in preparation of everything meaningful in my life to be taken away in 2 weeks. Okay. Oh, you're getting hot. Okay. Hold on. Let me see. Mommy's got you all wrapped up. I'm not looking at you. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, it's fuzzy because I blew it up, but it's not. Yeah. Okay. Okay. There you go. I don't know what she means. Everything will be taken away in 2 weeks. That would have been her pre-trial conference. What was going to be taken away? She missed all those deadlines, by the way, too. So I guess they were busy mourning, and she was like, "I don't care. Please, then I'll leave everyone alone and figure out what I can. Is a call at all possible sometime today? 30 minutes, please. Sorry for the over it attitude. I am, and I'm sure you both are also. No matter, I am thankful for you. I pray everyone is hanging on and getting through it, whatever it may be. At least we have each other. Thank you." That is nasty. Oh my god, that is nasty. Okay, we're gonna have to go. We gotta go get brother, and I gotta cool him off. He's all red. Yes, I know. I know. Okay. You want to say hi to the people? No. Okay. You just want to go. I understand. I understand. We're gonna go. Aw. Okay. All right, guys. My new boss is not happy with my performance at the moment, so I'm gonna go address that. Yeah. But thanks for hanging out with me last minute. I know. I appreciate you. And I know this was live, or for members, this part, I'm probably going to release it because I'm not going to do another reading. But I appreciate you guys being here with me. I always get great thoughts and ideas from the members, so I appreciate you. Okay, yeah. We will talk to you later, and I will work on these text messages. Also, next week I have a surprise.